My name is Lina FD and I live in Lake Forest, Illinois, which is just north of Chicago. I'm originally from Aleppo, Syria, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Karam Foundation, which is an organization that's focused on building a better future for Syria. You know, when we started Karam 10 years ago, it was before there was a crisis in Syria, and what we started to do in 2011 was really emergency aid, helping people in any way possible. And as the crisis developed and it became a refugee crisis, we began to focus on long-term projects and programs. And we realized that if we don't focus on building a better future for the youth, then there will be no future for Syria, because what we're witnessing in the last 6 years is just a slow decline of Syria as the country that we knew, and we wanted to focus on wherever there is space to build hope. And what we see is that the biggest hope you can have in Syria is investing in the youth. So we do different sorts of things that are related to innovative education and investing in the next generation of Syrian youth. Inside Syria, we invest in schools, rebuild schools in northern Syria, outside of Damascus, and we support schools so that they continue running while kids are living in the war zone. Outside Syria, for refugees, we're really focused on teenagers in southern Turkey and in Istanbul, and we run 2 programs. One of them is called Sponsor a Syrian Family, and that one takes kids out of child labor and sends them back to school by assisting the families. And the second program that I'm very excited about, we just opened it a few months ago, it's called Karam House. It's situated in Reyhanli, Turkey, which is right off of the Syrian border, and it's an innovation community center for Syrian refugee teens. So you have to imagine it being like a mini media lab where kids have access to technology, the internet, computer labs, a library, a culinary lab, a fabrication lab, and mentors where they can build skills to help them build a better future for themselves. And this is a project that we're looking to replicate in other areas outside Reyhanli. Our next one will be in Istanbul. We've been working with kids, Syrian refugee kids, for about 4 years now, very hands-on, through missions that are very creative in nature. So we take artists and journalists and writers and all different sorts of people to work with Syrian refugee kids. And through the years, we've recognized that the teenage population of refugees is really one of the most vulnerable segments of the refugee community. It's where you have kids that have been refugees now for 3, 4, 5 years, and they have a very small window of time that if you intervene in a positive way, in a deep impact way, and most importantly in a way that's community driven, so giving them things that the community actually wants their kids to have and the kids want to have themselves, you can turn their lives around very quickly and create a whole new life for them. So, and this is very, very important for both boys and girls. It prevents boys from entering into a lifetime of manual labor, never being able to get into higher education, even turning them away from extremism. For girls, it means you're like lessening the possibility of early marriages and increasing the possibility of them going into higher education, and if not, into getting very dignified jobs and skills that are made for this day and age, and having them connected to the world in a way that makes sense right now. Well, I'm the daughter of Syrian immigrants. My parents left Aleppo in the early 70s. They're both physicians. Like many of the Syrian American diaspora we have in the United States, made up of many doctors and engineers and very highly educated people. And I would say that if my parents hadn't come in the early 70s, I would have probably been a refugee right now myself, and who knows where I would have been living. And maybe Turkey, maybe I would have been on one of those boats with small children, risking my kid's life to go to a better life somewhere else. And what I would like to say to anybody who is interested and has questions about refugees is that refugees are longing to belong. They are searching for home. This notion that we need to welcome refugees, it's so important, but we need to go beyond welcoming them. We need people to feel that this is their home, that they belong here. And we've seen time and time again in the data that refugees turn around and become assets in any community that they live in if they're given the opportunity. The most important part is giving refugees an opportunity. And what I'm seeing right now is, first of all, it's shameful that our country did not accept a bigger number of the 5 million Syrian refugees that exist. And then the few that we've taken in are not given the opportunity, not given, a way to jumpstart their lives to be able to have them on that track of becoming assets to our community. So I would say to people to go and visit refugee communities where they live, and you will see how excited they are to be here and how they want to contribute and they want to belong.